Welcome to the Art of Braids. I am your host, Karyne Tinord, and today's guest is Alicia Skehan, and our topic is about the art of designing and its creativity, fashion, and functionality in beauty. Um, just a little backstory, me working on my braided art, when I started it, it looked like a bra. However, for me, I was like, that's not functional. No one wears that. So then I started to really figure out how to make sure that it was functional, but it still looked like clothes, but it was hair. So that was my thing. And I wanted to just kind of like have y'all on this episode as far as listening to kind of like get the aspects on what it looks like to incorporate functionality, fashion and creativity within any product or anything that you're doing within the beauty or braid community. So I want to give the floor over to Alicia Skehan about herself, her history, and like where, just a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you, Karyne. I'm very excited to be here and talk with you all things fashion and beauty and hair and how it all comes together, right? So yeah, I have been in the handbag industry for many years. I actually started out in apparel. I went to Parsons School of Design, um, graduated, wasn't totally in love with that first job, but thought, oh, I really liked footwear. I liked handbags. I liked accessories. And I really liked how a bag could transform your outfit. Same way with shoes, same way with makeup. You can dress yourself up and down. Um, so I made the transition. I worked really hard on my my portfolio at the time, and utilizing the skills that I had in pattern making and sewing, I was able to move into a design position at Kate Spade. And that's where like everything started. So since working at Kate Spade, I learned not just about how to make like an attractive, like cute bag and about materials and all of that, but also like are the what are the specifications that a client needs to have a bag that works for them, right? You can have cute bags out there, but does it fit your phone? Does it fit over your shoulder? Does it can it carry all the things that you need? Is it lightweight? Is it weighing you down? So that's really my like driving, I guess, principle when it comes to design is it has to work for the customer's needs.
Ooh, I love that. And I didn't even think about like the phone part, like, and then like over the shoulder, sometimes I'll be like, oh, like it's not staying there, or it's just like maybe the strap is a little bit too thin, or too bulky. Like it's just kind of like a battle. You want to be cute, you're like, never mind, I'll just hold it in my hand.
Yeah,
But
we don't have time for a battle. Like we need to like be like on the go, you know? So yeah, it's just the most paramount of importance. Just thinking back on all the brands that I've worked for and all of the little things that have come into play, like leather straps feeling too heavy on the shoulder when you've got your bag loaded, right? So and now actually for probably a good chunk of my career, I've only been working with nylon fabric brands versus leather, or at least with like light leather trim. So also having to consider like the softness of a material, like is a padded strap going to stay on your shoulder? Maybe not really, especially in the winter time when you're wearing a puffy jacket and you've got like nylon to nylon. So yes, there's a lot of problem solving.
wow. Yeah, there's like a science behind
Yeah.
the design. So this is definitely a conversation I don't think anyone thought knew that they needed. I feel like that's what it is. So I'm gonna just go into our first question at hand, which is about like the fashion to accessories part. So during your journey in fashion, it has evolved from apparel to accessories like handbags. How was working in accessories, which require both aesthetic and function, influence your creative approach? Do you see parallels for braiders in balancing beauty and practicality?
Yeah. So I take my inspiration from just going outside and seeing how people live, keeping track of what is going on in just day-to-day life, technology, how are these things impacting how we live, right? For example, our phones have wallets on them now. Do we really need cash? Depends on where you live. So those things come into play. If you're designing something for, so let's say Japanese market, right? They use lots of coins still. So they'll, coin pouches are necessary, but like for a wallet, here in the US, is it necessary to have the clear wallet like window for your ID? I don't know. People aren't carrying cash as much these days. I mean, I certainly do a little bit. But you've got to like account for um the different consumer needs. So, and I would say that for hair, there is definitely a tie-in because again, it's like it's beauty and function coming together, right? So, um, and also how do you go about your day, right? So like I right now I'm wearing crochet locks. Love it. It's lightweight. I live an active life. I go to the gym fairly often. I also don't want to be spending my days doing my hair on a daily basis, so that's why this works for me. I'm very much get up and go. But I did recently have a bit of an issue with like my braiding pattern and how long it was lasting when I would wash my hair. So I spoke with my stylist about it and she thought, well, okay, let me do a little research on the braiding pattern. She figured out a different way to do it. And so now that I have like a stronger base that's more reliable, my hairstyles last for like 7, 8 weeks instead of 3 to 4. So
Oh, that's
yeah.
actually very, like, thank you for like tying that together, because it is, you start to think about like, how can I actually make this more efficient for the client, because people are paying money to get their hair done and they want to get the most out of it. So
Mhm.
it's like, are you also willing to learn, right? And then receive
Right.
feedback on like, right, like it's quality control almost, right? Like it's like, okay.
100%. Yeah, 100%. It is definitely quality control, and making sure you're addressing the customer's needs. Um, like for handbags, we do that. The brand that I currently work for right now is Baggallini. I'm their VP of design. And we are always looking at our customer reviews. We are looking to see certainly, yes, what's in the market, what's trending, what's the most popular, but again, like what does our consumer respond to? What do they love best about the product? And like what are our top sellers? So when we analyze like that data, then we can you know, continue to create great product or improve upon what we have. So yeah, it all starts with the customer.
Yeah.
It has to work for them. If a style, if if I couldn't get this style to work for me, and if I couldn't work with my stylist to figure it out, I would have been like, okay, I'm giving up, finding another style, giving up, and I'll just be, I don't know, figuring out life with a bun. I don't know, you know.
Right, or you would have to leave your stylist and try finding someone else, and that'd be a
Yeah,
lost customer. Um,
exactly.
so it definitely works when you're willing to learn and you're like, oh, actually, this is a better way. And then now you have become more valuable uh as a stylist, because you're now like, okay, now I know two different ways, and you know why it's not working.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like when you mentioned about like hair and your your shampooing routine on a daily, how it's messing up vacation wise, right? Like if someone does a hairstyle and they're like, this is why I'm going to Jamaica, or I'm going to Haiti, or any kind of place, what kind of hairstyle will work for them in those conditions or the weather, or and then also thinking about like, what is their itinerary going to look like, you know. You
Mm-hmm.
put like a glueless wig on someone and then they're doing like deep diving and skydiving and all this extra stuff, and that thing fly off. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
like, what can we?
Then your hairstyle's ruined and all your pictures are ruined, you know, or at least you're not, coming in the way you want. So yeah, yeah, there's definitely, again, correlation between design and hair. And also, again, when your client has the trust in you, just like the same with products, when you know what to expect from that product, you're going to continue to go back. And, I really, again, appreciate the relationship I have with my stylist. She knows what to do with my hair. And if I need help with maintenance, I can reach out to her. So that's also really good. And that keeps me as a client. So with her.
Okay, so now when we talk about functionality in design,
Mm-hmm.
you've worked with a range of tools, right? That combine beauty and practicality. When it comes to braiding, how do you strike balance between creating functional tools that prioritize comfort, such as promoting painless techniques, while still focusing on sleek aesthetic design?
Well, I would say, again, it comes back to like that end user goal, right? So for bags, um, I might be tasked with, okay, we need a great bag for work. Backpacks are trending right now, but it needs to look sleek. So how do we arrive at a happy middle, right? So then that leaves me with a couple of options. I could be um thinking, okay, backpacks, they can look a little bit young, right? But if this is for a professional who's going into a work environment in an office, maybe a good solution might be something that converts from a tote to a backpack. Um, Something that's finished in a nice fabric that doesn't look too casual, like something you might find at a Herschel or what have you, right? So, um, figuring out what the materials are, and then like again, considering the size, how many different types of laptops do I need to fit? So I've got to consider, okay, what are the most popular items that people are using right now? I think it's 15-inch laptops are important. Also 16, there's this new little size in there. Um, so all of those things need to be considered when going into this product creation. So again, same thing with hair. Like, what is the client doing on a day-to-day basis? Do they want to have versatility? So then that's also establishing your base then, like, as a customer, do I know that I want individuals when I'm getting my crochet done? Or do I just want straight backs? And then it's a little less time, but so yeah, I would say it's again, it all goes back to what do they need, and listening to them. Lightweight hair too, right? Like, how much hair does this person need? Like, I have a small head. I might not need like 5 bundles. I might just need 3.5. So yeah.
Exactly. And I think there was a time where it was like, where everybody was like, oh my God, to combat the whole pain, they were like, okay, then let's do knotless. Because then you can flip it over whenever
Yeah.
you want and stuff like that, and you could leave the chair. So that was, I guess, something in the beauty industry that was like, okay, let's meet the need here, where because once you back in the days, it's like you get the braids, it's like stuck there for about 3 weeks until it grows out, and then you can like move it around. But with the knotless, it kind of solved that problem where they like, oh, I can actually change the parting anywhere I want, because now it gives us that flexibility. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
now we're talking about that. We're going into creativity and the personal development. You've spoken about how the pandemic gave you a pause to explore your own interests outside of work. This is a conversation we've had.
Yes.
Balance creative exploration with your career, and what advice do you give to braiders and entrepreneurs about maintaining their creativity amidst a busy schedule?
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that. Also, I mean, we met during COVID, so One of those moments of like trying to find those you know, how to connect with people was lunch club. So that was good.
Which is no longer around.
I mean, it might still be around, but I think again, because people are, outside and meeting in person, maybe it's evolved, but yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, COVID was a trying time to say the least for many of us, but I made the best use of my time. I think it was a time where I was able to return back to things that I really enjoyed when I was much younger, um, being language study and also getting into my crafty world here. I started taking art classes. I took pottery classes, jewelry making classes, and just having those other creative outlets just gives me the space away from the 9 to 5 that I do. Um, it just allows me to maybe even resolve problems at my 9 to 5. Like I don't know, it could have been like trying to think of a color for this material that I need to put into work for holiday 25, or um it could be anything, like resolving some technical solution for um a new material that we're pairing it with a different handle treatment, whatever. Just having like that space to like just remove yourself, but then still having that focus, I think just kind of frees up my mind to think a little bit differently, because the art projects and the jewelry, all of those things, those are like tedious little ways for me to spend my time. I'm like, putting together like metal and doing wax carving and all of this stuff. So
That's
yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I still try and make sure that I put time into those projects, even though now I am pretty much 9 to 5 going to work, like 4 days minimum a week in an office. So yeah. It's important, I think, for creatives, to have something outside of like what you do all the time, um, to just sort of give yourself a little bit of space, like a little maybe reflection moment, if you will, I
yeah.
think.
No. That's actually really good because sometimes like when you become a creative and then that's all you're doing, now it becomes work. And then it's like, oh, I love doing this, but you'll forget life is still happening. You have to kind of like walk around, stretch, and also you can get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It with like the whole, you're like, oh, I'm trying to do this, but it's not looking right, or it's not coming out. You're like, okay, try learning some other stuff up because then it'll like start sparking your interest on, oh, maybe I'll use this or maybe I'll do that. Like you just need that break. So that's definitely a good takeaway for creatives.
Mm-hmm. I think it's important for everyone, even just try something new sometime, like maybe do a painting class, or, even find things on YouTube, YouTube University.
Yeah, listen, okay, when we talk about new, we're gonna go into the next thing. But
Yeah.
for me, new is adding travel to my, thing. That was something new because I was like, this is something is a little, it's not doing what I wanted to do. But I'm big on education. I'm big on like just learning new things. We only live once and it's not that much time that we know about. So it's like, okay, let's learn as much as we can. So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about travel and the culture influence that it has. You've traveled extensively for work, collaborating with international teams. For braiders and beauty professionals, how can exposure to different cultures influence their artistry, especially when it comes to maintaining authenticity and expanding their creative vision? We touched on that a little bit, but you can
Oh
expand.
yeah. I mean, yeah, just the world is so inspiring. I think it's just important to be mindful of what's around you and how people are acting, and just the kind of appreciation you recognize in other cultures. I remember I was in Japan over the spring, and I'd bought a like a necklace set for my mom. And when I was buying it, the woman at the counter, Japanese, was just like very nicely like putting the box together, and the paper and the bow had to be just so like such an appreciation for these small little details. And that's like was just a running theme that I saw throughout my travels in Japan. Um, how can you not appreciate that, right? So for me, I find that to be inspiring also in how like I take that into my work or even how I live, just having intention, I think. So I think it's important to leave your backyard.
Yes. Yes, because it's like people don't do it the way. And then when you come back to New York, you'd be like, why is it so crazy? Like you start to see the rat race of New York and like the city that never sleeps and stuff like that. When you leave and come back, you'd be like, I could do life a little bit differently. And then you just look like the sore thumb because you're just like, why are you at peace? Like, why are you doing different things? Like, it's like, yeah, I've been outside of the four walls or
Yeah.
the four corners of the block, you know. So I
I think
definitely,
it's also nice to travel too, by the way, sorry, but to leave and come back and then discover an appreciation for home too.
yeah, this is true. Because sometimes it'd be a little quiet. At other places, you're like, I need to see people. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I need transportation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because transportation out here is like more convenient. Is you never really get lost. You can get lost in New York, but there's ways where it's connected. Like there's a thing that
Yes.
connected. So it's different. I know I went to Tampa for the first time and it was just like roosters walking around. And I'm like, okay, like I could deal with the pigeons and the squirrels, but I'm like, roosters? Now this is weird. But it does like make you appreciate things and also different styles, like even Miami, like
Mm-hmm.
go to there and just seeing how the floors are painted, like with pink, the houses, it's like or the structures
Yes.
in Philly or
Architecture could be very inspiring.
very,
Mm.
and I'm just like, this is great. Like, and people are like, wait, where do you get your inspiration from? Like looking how either nature does its thing, or how man go and like design a structure where people can live or people can dine at, like just how people interact in a certain space. It's just like, oh, uh, but like, and then the
Mm-hmm.
style of different people out there, like uh,
Mm-hmm.
talking about travel or in the beauty industry, it's um, like what kind of hairstyles are people wearing? So if it's like Miami, you might not see too much blowouts. Like,
Right,
like
exactly.
the
A little
heat,
too humid.
yeah, like you'd be like, okay, maybe for a braid up, I might want to settle there because I know more people will probably do some braids and protective styles because of the heat. So
Totally.
yeah, like so it's just kind of like you can while you travel, you can also see where you can probably contribute. So
Yes.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, you could see the opportunities. Um, and I also think just going back to what you're saying, um, seeing how like Miami is as far as like, dining options and the way that the architecture is and such like I think seeing colors and how they're presented in different places, whether it's like you're going to an art museum or looking at something that's just I don't know um like I was in Portugal recently and just looking at the landscape and seeing all those beautiful like sun-kissed colors and like the roofs and everything. I think that's also inspiring as well, which could totally inspire like, maybe you might want to try like an ombre style based on like the mixtures of colors that you see out there or just wanting to play with something new. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I truly like that because then you can see how naturally certain colors can go. Because
Yeah.
purple and pink, or like purple and green or something like that. Like, yeah, it actually works in nature. So
Mhm.
work as like it's a bold look, but it will still look good
Yeah.
because it naturally goes together.
And then like how can you bring it and then translate it into product, whether it's like hair or bags. Sometimes I see something and I'm like, oh, like I love that palette. I just want to capture like this. It doesn't always translate, but I think worth the effort anyway.
But it's
Yeah.
also considering like the material you're using and
Yeah.
like the light is reflecting on certain things. Because if it's a bag that is like it has like more of a shiny exterior, then you probably want to be careful on, I guess what colors you go with, because then it might look differently in the eye. Uh, kind
For
of
sure.
like that thing that was going on, I think it was in 2020, where you look at a certain thing, there was a group, it was divided, like depending on the person's eye.
Oh, the blue dress or the
The white and gold or the blue and black.
blue and black. I remember that. Yes.
Like, what do you see? I'm there like, I see yellow and gold. Like, they're like, getting people thinking that they're better than a person because they see it different. Like, but it's like the way that certain things can affect the eye
Mhm.
when it comes to the hair, and then also style when we talk about design and fashion. Like, there's people who want to rock the boho look, and then it's like, with what are they wearing too? Like, especially what's in the closet. Like, what are your clients wearing? Like, are there somebody that would want like polished hair, like where it's super super neat, or do they mind like it just being like frizzy or loose? And there's like that the butterfly cornrows and things like
Yeah.
that. People like it to be loose and messy.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's like, does it work with their aesthetic? Right? Like, especially with like when you're creating the bags, it's like you already know who your customer is.
Right.
Like, they want this clean cut look,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna give it to them. Same.
Right.
Yeah, like I
Like
want,
how do you take a trend too and fit it into that person's their aesthetic, right? Like I mean butterfly locks, I want to try those by the way. Um, you know, but I think I do have like a pretty much a boho look. But I wouldn't be afraid to like put that together with something more polished, like, like a suit and slacks. Cause
right, to kind of like upscale it. Like, it depending on that person, like, do they like mixing like
yeah.
that? I want to elevate my hairstyle where it's like,
Mhm.
want that messy look, but I don't mind being polished down here. Like, it's just kind of like that balance, um,
Yeah.
where you can dress it down or dress it up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Dress it down, dress it up, add jewels, take things out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So then I wanted to talk more like about like when it comes to traveling, packing, hair. I know you designed some luggage in your day.
Yes, yes. Yeah, for Baggallini, we do have some really great luggage, some award-winning pieces actually. Our Gramercy duffel has been very well received, and that's great for weekend travel. But yes, for me as a traveler, I mean, I just have it down. So, and because I have to consider like, okay, am I, how far am I going? How long am I going to be away? Um, do I want to check my luggage? Lately, no. We're most people don't. You want the carry-on. I mean, we're getting charged for everything these days too. The airlines, it's just terrible. So you need to be able to get, I mean, it's the truth, right? So we need to be able to get all of our necessities to where we're going. So I mean, I love the little if anything comes in a travel size, I'm very happy with that. Otherwise then I'll have to do my own like very organized like putting um my all of my potions and things in bottles, because we can't, sometimes you can't minimize, it depends.
No. So one, I mistakenly was going heading over to Chicago for a client.
Yeah.
And I put my stuff in like my carry-on, like the products and stuff like that. And now I had to throw everything away because of like
Oh.
theme and stuff like that. So there was like, no, so I had to literally buy it when I got back, when I got there. And I'm like, where do they sell this? Thank God it was a Target, so I was able to
So
get,
you're able to get what you needed, but oh, that's so
yeah,
disappointing.
yeah. I definitely learned my lesson. So now I put things in the check-in, like I'll check the bag in, or I will like put it in like a travel size container to get it done. But I'm there like sometimes like I can't get away with that because
Right.
of products or if I have multiple clients in the area. So I'm like, but I
Yeah.
have to put it.
Then what would you do though in like in a scenario where, well, I guess, yeah, you would have to check it.
Yeah, I would
Time.
check it. I'd have
Yeah.
to check it or send it ahead of time.
Yeah. Or send it ahead of time.
Yeah,
Right.
like that's the struggle with thing. But of course, it's I'm gonna touch on like uh with luggage, just even going to down the block or up the street or you traveling in the state
Hmm.
or city as a stylist, the bag that we carry, like we talk about like shoulder or if it's lightweight, if it's easy to
Yeah.
transport our products and our tools or the hair,
What
like
do you use when you travel? Like,
so there was a bag that I had got off of Amazon, but it took almost a month to get to me. It was it was a snakeskin patterned bag that had like the handle, it had the rollies. Um and then inside was a whole bunch of like they had a side pocket, they had like
okay,
when you opened it, it was like
lots of compartments.
yeah, even on the top part. And then there was like a layer inside. Like it was just like, whoa. Like everywhere I went, people would be like, I love that bag, but it carried so much stuff in it. But the thing is, like over time, hair used to get caught in the wheel. And then I'd be like, dang it. But and then it took a long time to get, like as far as like shipping. So it was like I ordered maybe once again after it kind of
Yeah.
like damaged through wear and tear. But now I use like a carry-on travel bag
Okay.
that has like a bottom part that just like helps with like maybe my iPad or something like that. But
Is it a two-wheel or a four-wheel
this
piece?
one, no, there's no wheel in this one. It's just like
No wheels. It's
yeah,
just a bag, but it can hold all of your items, all the bottles, all the hair tools that you need.
yeah.
Okay.
It's still just a little weird because, like, if I put the strap on,
Mm-hmm.
it's annoying because now it's hitting against me and stuff like that. So I'll just carry it in my hand. But like when
And you're
I'm,
talking about the crossbody strap.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like either I'll use it across the body or for convenience, I'll probably just put it on one shoulder. But then it's everything is weighing on one shoulder. Uh,
Yeah. Do you wish it came in like sort of a backpack so you could balance the weight on like, you know, both shoulders?
yeah.
We need to talk later. Okay.
Yeah, like if it's a backpack, I feel like the backpack, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, the backpack would be good with a whole bunch of like little compartments, but it's just convenient and then it's just like easy, sleek. Like, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I
So
love
now,
ideas. Hmm.
yeah, so now we're gonna talk about some new stuff for the beauty industry when it comes to like a bag. Because I don't think there is like a fashion house that's talking about like a beauty bag for like stylists that could still be functional but also really like stylish,
Mm.
right? And functional in all of those.
Yeah, I'm not aware of anything that is specific to like the makeup and beauty industry, but I do think that having this conversation, there seems like there might be an opportunity to build something that will be durable and answer all of those needs. So, yeah, but again, I would suggest, I mean, I just think, stylist, you have so many products to carry. So I would imagine that that would be, you know, very cumbersome. So I would think like anywhere where you could put wheels on the bottom of something would make your journey a little bit easier. Yeah.
Right. With the transition to putting on as a backpack. I feel like those two would be a hit. It would be. It would be.
Okay.
Um,
But I mean, yeah, we have at Baggallini we produce lots of cosmetic cases, travel cases. We have a couple of like top sellers, but certainly not like that long haul for the professional. So maybe maybe there's an idea there. Mm-hmm.
I believe so.
Also,
Okay.
you spill, like everything needs to be easy to clean up.
Yes. Yes, because we're using products, we're using mousse and
Mhm.
even conditioners and stuff like that, something that can be wiped off. See? Okay, so there's reasons to have these conversations because uh, as a licensed cosmetologist, like I'm not speaking from like just anywhere. Like it's more of like, yeah, as a professional, this would be great. Plus also what I would look like in a really dope bag going to my clients, because then they're looking at you as a whole, like, okay, this is a part of the uniform and this is what it would look
Right.
like.
You've got it.
Okay. So now we're gonna go into the last three questions, which is a fun question, couple of questions to just get to know you a little bit better.
All right.
Um, what is something people are surprised to know about you?
Nihongo ga hanasemasu. So I've been studying Japanese. I just said I speak Japanese. Yeah, I've been studying Japanese since COVID, pretty much. Um, I love language learning. Yeah, I studied Spanish all through school, up and through high school, but that didn't really retain, or it does. I just don't have anyone to practice speaking with. Um, but yeah, it started out on Clubhouse. Um, no one can see you on Clubhouse. Someone invited me to the stage. Want to learn how to do your Jiko Shokai? Sure. And if I mess up, it doesn't matter. I'll never see these people again. And I really liked it. So I started studying the hiragana, katakana, kanji is a lifelong study. It's really difficult, but it's very rewarding. So
Wow. Congratulations. And wow, that's was like, wait, what? Okay. Okay. And then how do you say your name in Japanese?
so in Japanese, there's no L's. So I would shift it in katakana, it would be Arisha. So using an R instead. So yeah,
Hmm.
Arisha instead of Alicia.
Wow. Okay. So know a little bit more about Alicia.
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
Yeah. I think for you it would just be Karyne.
Karyne.
Mm-hmm. Karyne.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now I'm saying my name differently. If y'all hear me say Karyne,
Next
then
time you're in Japan. Oh,
I'll just introduce myself.
Karyne, yes. Yeah.
Okay. Next would be what's a book or resource that you would recommend?
Mm, well, well, maybe this could be a strange tie-in, but when I started working in handbags, I was figuring out how to braid and construct handles. So there is a book, the Encyclopedia of Leather Braiding. It teaches you how to braid all kinds of knots and just like all kinds of things. I've had the book for 20 years. I think it's inspiring for straps of that sort. Another book I would recommend that I just recently finished is Sutton Foster. She is a Broadway star and she was also in the show called Younger, which I watched during COVID. Um, and I love that too, just because she was playing a woman who was lying about her age to get into the publishing world after getting divorced from her husband and just wanting to get back into work and not start over. Anyway, not that anyone should do those things, but her book is called Hooked, and through her stories, she's explaining how crafting like saved her life, and got her through some really hard times, whether she was on a Broadway tour and just struggling with the day to day, or even she talks about her own like fertility struggles, and just sort of like some of her crocheting projects would just sort of be her processing her pain, or it would be like some look to the future of like, I'm having this hopeful moment. So I really liked it.
Nice. That sounds really good. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like it is therapeutic, like thinking about like Hooked. It's just like, what can I start to do to kind of get myself out of my head and
Yep.
start focusing on what I do know or can learn.
Hmm.
And then before you know it, everything kind of falls into place and you're not worried or too anxious about certain things. Okay. And then the last but not least, is how can people support and connect with you?
I'm on LinkedIn. So anybody who has any questions can certainly reach out to me through that. And I design handbags right now for Baggallini. So if you want to support, please check out the website. And there might be something interesting for you. So yeah, that's it.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, we will be letting you know in the show notes about how different ways that you can connect with
Alicia Skehan.
Alicia Skehan, and all the in-betweens on like what it looks like to become more functional and more aesthetically appealing to the customer in the beauty industry. So thank you so much, Alicia. And everybody have a good one. Till next time.
Thank you so much.
Bye.